Hi, curious minds. Have you ever wondered, how did humans get here? Why do giraffes have long necks? Or how come whales used to walk on land? The answer is evolution. But evolution doesn't just explain how we got here. It also tells us that whales once had legs and walked on land. Yep, really. Watch the video to find out how that happened. Let's go on an adventure through millions of years to discover how life on Earth has changed. What is evolution? Evolution is a big word, but the idea is simple. It means that living things change over a really, really long time. Not in a day, not even in 100 years, but over thousands or even millions of years. Long ago, we're talking billions of years, there were only tiny, simple creatures in the ocean. They didn't have bones or brains or legs, just tiny blobs. But over time, these little creatures changed. Some grew fins, some grew eyes, some even crawled onto land. And just like that, boom! Life started getting more and more interesting. Why does this happen? It all starts with one big goal that every living thing has. From tiny bacteria to giant blue whales, to survive and have babies. But nature doesn't just leave animals on their own, it gives them something amazing, the power to change. Changes that help you survive. Let's imagine a forest full of green leaves, grass, and plants. In that forest live green frogs. They are small and don't have claws or big teeth to protect themselves. But they have one cool trick, their green color. It helps them hide from predators, like cranes, that are looking for a frog snack. But one day things start to change. Rain falls more often, and the plants begin to die from too much water. The green forest turns into a muddy swamp. Bad news for green frogs. Now green frogs are easier to spot, and the cranes catch them more often. Some frogs move to other parts of the forest where it's still green, but some stay. Then, something special happens. One green frog lays eggs, and out of hundreds of little green frog babies, there is one brown frog. That brown frog can hide much better in the mud than her green brothers and sisters. Because of that, she's more likely to survive and grow up to lay her own eggs. Some of her babies are brown, too. They also hide better, so they survive and have babies. Over many, many generations, more and more frogs in the swamp are brown, and the green frogs slowly disappear from that area. But wait, how did a brown frog come from a green frog mom? Great question. Every living thing, animals, plants, and even you, has something inside called DNA. DNA is a special code in your body. It tells your body how to grow, what color your eyes will be, how tall you might be, and even what color skin or hair you have. You get your DNA from your parents, half from your mom, and half from your dad. That's why relatives look alike. But sometimes tiny little mistakes happen in DNA. These are called mutations. Most of the time, mutations don't do much at all. But sometimes they cause a tiny change, and that change gets passed down from parent to child, then to grandchild, and so on for thousands of years. And one day, that tiny change shows up, like the brown color in our frog story. That one lucky frog was born with a change in her DNA that made her brown instead of green. And because that helped her survive, the change stayed. And it helped frogs become better suited to their new muddy home. Isn't that amazing? One little change in DNA, thousands of years ago, made it possible for a whole new kind of frog to exist today. Tiny changes in DNA plus survival equals evolution in action. Let's look at some real-life examples of evolution. Why do elephants have trunks? A long time ago, ancient elephants had shorter noses, but some had longer noses, and that helped them grab food, spray water, or keep cool. The elephants with longer trunks survived better. So over many generations, the trunks got longer and longer. That's evolution in action. Whales used to walk? Here's a wild fact. Whales used to have legs. Really? Yes. A very, very long time ago, changes in the ocean made entire generations of fish swim closer and closer to land. There were many possible reasons. Maybe the water was warmer near the shore, maybe there was more food, or maybe there were fewer predators. And slowly, some fish started doing something amazing. They began coming out onto the land, maybe just for a snack at first. But that was a big step. Around 50 million years ago, some fish actually started walking on land. Some of them stayed on land, and over millions of years of evolution, they changed so much. They stopped being fish. Their gills turned into lungs so they could breathe air, and their fins slowly became legs. But guess what? Some ancient relatives of whales decided they liked the water better, so they went back to the sea. And then something amazing happened. Their bodies, which had already adapted to living on land, began to change again. Their legs turned into fin-like limbs, and their noses moved to the top of their heads, so they could breathe more easily while swimming. But even though they looked like fish again, they didn't become fish. They became whales. That's right. Even though whales look like big fish, they're not fish at all. For example, whales don't have gills and can't breathe underwater. They need to come up to the surface to breathe air. And just like land animals, they give birth to babies and feed them with milk. Fish, on the other hand, lay eggs. The baby fish don't need their moms for milk. Do you know who the closest land relative of whales is? Hippos. That's right, whales are more closely related to hippos than to fish. Uh-oh. But what if an animal can't adapt? If the weather gets too hot or cold, if there's not enough food, or if new predators show up, some animals might not survive. Take the dodo bird. It lived on an island and wasn't afraid of people because it had no predators. But when humans came, they brought animals like rats and cats, and the dodos couldn't protect themselves. They didn't adapt fast enough, and they went extinct, which means gone forever. Another example, dinosaurs. A giant asteroid hit Earth and changed the planet. Many dinosaurs couldn't survive in the New World, but some small feathered dinosaurs, they adapted, and today we call them birds. But there are still many years of changes between birds and dinosaurs. And today, birds are a separate species. So even when one species disappears, evolution keeps going. Some life ends, and new life begins. What about humans? Our story's pretty cool too. Humans didn't just appear poof, out of nowhere. We're part of a big, amazing family tree of animals that goes back millions of years. A long, long time ago, there were creatures that were a little like apes, but not quite like us yet. These ancient creatures slowly changed over time. Through evolution, step by step, they started walking more upright. Their brains got bigger, they learned to use tools, make fire, and even draw on cave walls. One of our ancient ancestors was called Australopithecus. Try saying that 5 times fast. It lived about 3 million years ago and could walk on 2 legs. It was small, had long arms, and a face a bit like a monkey's. After that came Homo habilis, that means handyman, because they used simple tools made from stone. Then came Homo erectus, upright human, and finally, Homo sapiens, the clever human. That's us. We turned out to be the best at adapting to all kinds of environments, from the hot savannas to the freezing Arctic. And today, we are the only kind of humans living on Earth. But scientists believe that there were times when several different types of humans lived on Earth at the same time. Now here's a cool question. Who are our closest living relatives? Is it cats? Nope. Dogs? Nope again. The answer is chimpanzees. We share about 98 to 99% of our DNA with chimps. Our DNA is almost identical. Chimpanzees are super smart. They live in groups, use tools, and show emotions, just like us. Just imagine how amazing DNA is. Because a tiny difference in our DNA makes such a huge difference between us and chimpanzees. And an even smaller bit of DNA creates incredible differences between all people. Some have red hair, some have black, some have green eyes, while others have blue or brown. But we're all still Homo sapiens, and we have way more in common than we think. Sometimes people say that humans came from chimpanzees. That's not quite right. Don't get it wrong. We didn't come from chimpanzees. Instead, we share a common ancestor with them. Think of it like having a great-great-great-grandparent that we both come from millions of years ago. So next time you see a monkey or an ape, just remember, they're not just fun animals at the zoo, they're part of our amazing animal family. Fun facts about evolution. Let's wrap up with some awesome evolution facts. Sharks have been around longer than trees, over 400 million years. Some lizards can grow back their tails if one breaks off. That's a helpful trick to survive. Bacteria evolve super fast. That's why we need new medicines. Giraffes have the same number of neck bones as humans, only 7. They're just way longer. By growing such long bones, giraffes gained an advantage. They could eat leaves from the very tops of trees. So now you know, evolution is how living things change and adapt to survive. From tiny fish to flying birds, from dinosaurs to humans. We're all part of one big, amazing story of life. Thanks for learning with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep asking big questions. See you next time on Know It All, kids!